Last January, I went to Florida for an adventure. My only goal was to get in the water and meet some of the creatures who live there. It was quite a wild ride. Our adventure begins in Jupiter, Florida. We're currently hanging out at Blowing Rocks Preserve, a pretty cool spot with big jagged rocks getting battered by waves, and pretty nature walks. But the real reason we're in Jupiter, Florida is for the shark diving. Shark diving boats head out of Jupiter Inlet regularly, but we were here in winter. A great season for sharks, but not for the weather. Today happened to be the only day on our trip in which the weather permitted us to venture out on a shark dive. So venture out we did. Imagine boarding a small boat and heading out into shark-filled waters with the intent of getting in. Yeah, it's quite a thrill. Oh, and did I mention, we're not using a cage. All we're using is a sunken box of bait to bring the sharks to us. And it didn't take long for them to come. The sharks were not aggressive or scary, but man, were they cool. After entering the water, it took us a very short amount of time to be completely surrounded by 8 to 10 big bull sharks. It was very exciting, because you never know when one is coming up right behind you. But they weren't being aggressive, they were just curious, and with every pass, they were gaining confidence. While watching this, you may wonder what these funny looking guys are. These are remoras. They like to hitch a ride on the sharks and eat parasites off of them. On this dive, we also got a visit from another species of shark, a lemon shark. You can see in this video, it is a slightly narrower shark compared to the big-bodied bull sharks. But the bull sharks were still the stars of the show. This shark got a little too bold when checking us out, so you're seeing it get redirected by one of our dive guides. At the end of our dive, this shark must have gotten frustrated it couldn't get to the bait in the box because it went attack mode on that bait box. And that was it for our first shark dive. It was an absolutely incredible experience, but it was time to head back to shore. We ended up finishing our day with some cool little hikes that put the cherry on top of a truly wild yet beautiful day. It's good we made use of our good weather day because, like I said before, for the remainder of our time in Jupiter, Florida, the weather looked like this. This meant that the rest of our shark dives were canceled. So it was time for Plan B, snorkeling at Blue Heron Bridge, a really popular snorkeling spot where you went to the water from under a bridge. There's also a trail of sunken objects here. Probably the coolest sunken object at Blue Heron Bridge is this old boat that has now become a home for the fish. And there was a lot of cool fish here. My favorite part of Blue Heron Bridge was this big group of yellow striped fish I made friends with. I say made friends with because once I found them, the whole group just seemed to follow me around like my little buddies. The funny part is that it's not the first time this has happened to me. I had the same thing with these two friendly little fish in Kauai. What can I say? I guess I'm just really good at befriending little yellow fish. I spent the rest of my time here hanging out with my little posse of fish as they followed along. After Blue Heron Bridge, it was time to leave Jupiter, Florida. And on the road, we drove past what looked like a tornado of birds over a landfill. Anyways, we're heading to the other side of the state to stop at a swampy little place called Crystal River. Arriving in Crystal River, we discovered that the water was covered in an eerie, thick layer of fog. This was caused by the 30-degree air meeting the 72-degree water. It really made walking out on an old rickety dock extra spooky. But that's enough exploring the fog. It's time to get some rest because tomorrow we are meeting some of the friendliest underwater creatures ever. The cold air does more than create fog in the water. It also causes manatees to travel further into the warmer waters here in Crystal River. So it's time to get in the water with the cutest and friendliest creatures I have ever seen. As you can probably tell, the feeling here is very chill. Sometimes life moves too fast, but not here, because the manatees like to hang out and take it slow. The most amazing part was how curious and friendly they were as they welcomed us into their home. The most curious and friendly of them all was this little baby manatee that hung out with us for most of the day. This cute little guy really seemed to enjoy hanging out with us, and he loves coming right up to you. Contrary to what I said before, there is actually a time when manatees move fast, and that's when it's time for a mating herd. Swimming with these big, gentle creatures is so much fun, especially because of how much it seems like they really enjoy interacting with us. Check out this video of the baby manatee coming up to me to blow bubbles and hang out with me. I mean, look at that. He's just hanging out with me like we're two buddies. Another cute thing about the manatees is their squeaking noise they make. The manatees will forever go down as one of the happiest and friendliest creatures I have ever been in the water with. That afternoon, we decided that the best way to end this awesome day was to check out the sunset from Fort Island Beach. While exploring this area, we found this crazy squirrel. Saw some dolphins in the distance, and met a big group of pretty cool birds. All in all, it was a beautiful day, and tomorrow, it was time to hit the swamp. So why exactly are we exploring the swamp? Well, besides the fact that it's an awesome foggy swamp, we're looking for alligators. I mean, come on, this wouldn't be a video about finding the underwater creatures of Florida if we didn't at least look for some gators. We started out in a canoe on the Chassahowitzka River. The fog was still on the water, and the rain made it so that we were the only people out there. This river has a big main channel and then a bunch of smaller offshoots, so there was plenty to explore. After a while of exploring, we came upon an area where we noticed disturbances in the water. Something was coming up for air, so we got closer to see what it was. It turns out it was just manatees, a whole bunch of them too. Now you're not allowed to swim with them here, but I did stick my camera in the water to get a good view. Now finding the manatees was awesome, but the search for gators was still on. After a long day of canoeing and hiking around the swamp, it seemed like we were not gonna find any gators. We did find this frog, however, and he was pretty cool. But just as we were finishing our search, look what we found. It was a gator, hiding in a shallow little patch of swamp. We couldn't get any closer due to the thick brush surrounding it. Trust me, I tried, but it was still cool to see, and it was the perfect finishing touch for our adventure swimming in Florida. Thanks for watching.